Nostradamus is one of history's most fascinating figures, known for his cryptic prophecies that continue to intrigue and baffle us centuries later. Among his countless predictions, one stands out as eerily personal, the prediction of his own death. How did this legendary seer foresee the moment of his demise? Was it pure coincidence, or did he truly glimpse into the future? Today we'll uncover the mysterious life and final prophecy of Nostradamus. Michel de Nostradamus, known to the world as Nostradamus, was born in 1503 in Saint-Rémy-de-Provence, France. His name has become synonymous with prophecy, but his life was far more complex than his famous predictions. Nostradamus was not only a prophet but also a physician, astrologer, and scholar, whose work reflected a unique blend of science, spirituality, and intellect during one of Europe's most turbulent periods. Growing up in a time of intellectual awakening, Nostradamus showed an early talent for mathematics, astronomy, and languages. He studied at the University of Avignon and later at the University of Montpellier, where he trained as a physician. It was here that Nostradamus first made a name for himself, treating victims of the plague, a relentless disease that ravaged Europe in the 16th century. Unlike many of his contemporaries, Nostradamus rejected traditional methods of treatment, which often relied on bloodletting and superstition. Instead, he emphasized hygiene and innovative remedies, such as using clean water and fresh air, methods that were revolutionary for the time. His success in saving lives earned him respect as a healer, but it also put him at odds with more traditional medical practitioners. In addition to his medical achievements, Nostradamus had a deep interest in the stars and their influence on human events. Astrology was a respected science during his era, and Nostradamus used it not only for personal exploration, but also to make predictions about the world. This fascination with the cosmos eventually led him to write his most famous work, Les Prophéties, a collection of over 900 cryptic quatrains that seemed to predict events far beyond his time. Despite his fame as a prophet, Nostradamus remained deeply rooted in science and reason. His life was a delicate balance between the empirical and the mystical, reflecting the complexity of his era, a time when the line between science and superstition was often blurred. Nostradamus's ability to navigate both worlds made him a figure of fascination and controversy, and his legacy continues to intrigue us centuries later. The question remains, was Nostradamus a visionary seer, a brilliant observer of human nature, or simply a master of cryptic language? As we delve deeper into his life and prophecies, we'll explore the man behind the myth and uncover how he became one of history's most. Among Nostradamus's most famous prophecies is one that many believe predicted the French Revolution, a seismic event that reshaped the political landscape of Europe. His quatrains, written in cryptic and poetic language, seem to describe the overthrow of the monarchy and the chaos that followed. One particular verse stands out. From the enslaved populace, songs, chants, and demands, while princes and lords are held captive in prisons. This quatrain vividly captures the spirit of rebellion that gripped France in the late 18th century. The enslaved populace can be interpreted as the oppressed, common people rising against the ruling elite. The songs, chants, and demands reflect the revolutionary fervor, the cries for liberty, equality, and fraternity that echoed through the streets of Paris. The imagery of princes and lords held captive in prisons brings to mind the fate of King Louis XVI and Queen Marie Antoinette, who were imprisoned during the Revolution. Both would eventually face the guillotine, symbolizing the collapse of the monarchy and the rise of the people's power. Nostradamus's ability to capture such specific elements in a quatrain, written centuries before the Revolution, has fascinated scholars and believers alike. Some argue that his prophecies reflected deep understanding of human nature and the inevitable cycles of history. Others remain skeptical, pointing to the vagueness of his language, which allows for multiple interpretations. Regardless of the debate, this particular prophecy resonates because it seems to encapsulate the essence of one of history's most transformative moments. Was Nostradamus truly foreseeing the fall of the French monarchy? Or is this another example of how his writings can be adapted to fit historical events? Either way, it adds to the enduring mystery of his work. One of Nostradamus's most debated quatrains includes a reference to a figure named Heister, which some believe is a prediction of Adolf Hitler, the infamous dictator of Nazi Germany. The quatrain reads, "From the depths of the west of Europe, a young child will be born of poor people, who by his tongue will seduce a great troop. His fame will increase towards the realm of the east." The word Hister has sparked much discussion. While some argue it refers to the Latin name for the Danube River, others interpret it as a misspelling or anagram of Hitler. The description of a young man rising from humble beginnings to become a charismatic leader fits Hitler's story. Born in Austria, he rose to power in Germany, using his oratory skills to amass a following and lead the country into World War II. Additionally, the phrase "towards the realm of the East" is thought to refer to Hitler's invasion of Eastern Europe, which played a central role in the war. These connections, though speculative, have captivated believers and added to Nostradamus's mystique. Skeptics argue that Heister is too vague and could be linked to many historical figures or events. However, the eerie parallels between this quatrain and Hitler's rise to power keep the debate alive. Was this prophecy a genuine glimpse into the 20th century? Or is it an example of people projecting meaning onto Nostradamus's cryptic words? One of Nostradamus's most haunting prophecies appears to foretell catastrophic events involving fire and destruction. The quatrain reads, "The sky will burn at 45 degrees. Fire approaches the great new city. Immediately a huge scattered flame leaps up." When they want proof of the Normans, many interpret this prophecy as a prediction of the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center in New York City. The phrase "fire from the sky" seems to describe the fiery impact of the hijacked planes, and the great new city aligns with New York, often referred to as the New World or New City. The line "immediately a huge, scattered flame leaps up" evokes the horrifying image of the Twin Towers collapsing in a blaze of fire and debris. The reference to 45 degrees has also been tied to New York's latitude, which sits close to 40 +, although some interpret this line metaphorically. While skeptics argue that the language is too vague to be definitively linked to 9/11, the parallels are undeniably chilling. Nostradamus's cryptic verses leave room for interpretation, and his ability to evoke imagery of fire and destruction continues to fuel fascination with his work. Was this truly a vision of a future catastrophe, or simply another example of human tendency to... Among the hundreds of quatrains written by Nostradamus, one stands out as deeply personal and haunting, a prophecy that seemingly predicted not only the year of his death but also the very circumstances surrounding it. This quatrain, like many of his other works, is written in cryptic and poetic language, leaving room for both awe and debate. But what makes it truly extraordinary is how events aligned with his prediction, cementing his reputation as a prophet whose visions extended even to his own demise. Here is the quatrain that Nostradamus wrote, believed to foretell his own death. On the bed of death close to the village, the stars' alignment will signal his demise. The great seer will see no more the sun. When July ends, his life undone. This quatrain captures the essence of Nostradamus's style, vague enough to be interpreted in multiple ways yet eerily specific when viewed in hindsight. The references to the bed of death and the stars' alignment suggest a man aware of the timing and setting of his final moments. The mention of July is particularly chilling, as it aligns with the exact month he passed away in 1560. By 1566, Nostradamus's health had begun to decline. He suffered from severe gout, a condition that had worsened over the years and led to edema, or swelling, that further restricted his mobility. Despite his ailments, Nostradamus continued to write, counsel, and practice astrology. In the final days of his life, Nostradamus reportedly made a chilling statement to his assistant. On July 1st, 1566, he is said to have told his assistant, "You will not find me alive tomorrow." This statement, made with calm certainty, was a direct acknowledgement of the prophecy he had written years earlier. The following morning, on July 2nd, 1566, Nostradamus was found lifeless in his bed, exactly as he had foreseen. The details surrounding Nostradamus's death are as mysterious as his life. According to accounts, he passed away peacefully during the night, lying on his bed, just as the prophecy described. The alignment of the stars at the time of his death has also been a subject of fascination among astrologers, as many believe it coincided with celestial patterns mentioned in his writings. His death marked the end of a life that was both celebrated and controversial. Even in his final moments, Nostradamus seemed to embrace his identity as a seer, fully aware of the timing of his demise. For those who believed in his abilities, the fulfillment of this prophecy was further proof of his extraordinary gift. But how do we interpret this prophecy? Was it truly a vision of the future? Or could it have been a case of self-fulfilling prophecy? Some argue that Nostradamus, as a skilled observer of his own health, could have predicted his death based on his deteriorating condition. Others believe the alignment of celestial events and the precise fulfillment of his words are evidence of his supernatural insight. Skeptics point out that the quatrain, like many of Nostradamus's writings, is open to interpretation. The vague phrasing allows readers to retroactively fit events to the prophecy. However, the timing and details of his death leave little doubt for his followers. Nostradamus knew when and how his life would. The prophecy of his own death adds a deeply personal layer to Nostradamus's legacy. It showcases not only his mastery of cryptic language, but also his profound understanding of human nature, health, and possibly even the unseen forces of the universe. Whether viewed as a miraculous insight or a calculated prediction, it continues to intrigue scholars, believers, and skeptics alike. Nostradamus's death, foretold in his own words, serves as a reminder of the enduring mystery of his life and work. It leaves us with questions that may never be fully answered. Was he truly gifted with the ability to see the future? Or was he a master at crafting prophecies that could fit any outcome? As we reflect on Nostradamus's prophecy of his own death, one thing becomes clear. His legacy is as much about the questions he raised as the answers he provided. His life, his work, and his mysterious death continue to captivate us, reminding us of the thin line between what we know and what lies beyond. What do you think? Was Nostradamus's final prophecy a vision of the future, or simply the calculated words of a man aware of his own mortality? Segue into audience engagement. Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Did Nostradamus truly foresee his own death? Or are we simply projecting meaning onto his cryptic words? This question has sparked debate for centuries, captivating scholars, skeptics, and believers alike. Nostradamus's quatrains have long been a source of fascination, but none have been as personal or as haunting as the one believed to predict his own demise. Written years before his passing, the prophecy appears to describe not only the timing but also the circumstances of his death. But how much of this is true and how much is interpretation? Let's revisit the quatrain that is believed to foretell his death. On the bed of death close to the village, the stars' alignment will signal his demise. The great seer will see no more the sun. When July ends, his life undone. At first glance, the prophecy seems to directly describe Nostradamus's final moments. He died in 1566, in his home near the village of Salon de Provence, during the night of July 1st. The references to a bed of death, the stars' alignment, and the month of July all align uncannily with the actual events. These details make it tempting to believe that Nostradamus had some supernatural insight into his own mortality. Supporters of Nostradamus argue that this prophecy is undeniable, proof of his abilities. They point to the accuracy of his description, including the timing and location of his death. Additionally, they highlight his final words to his assistant, reportedly spoken on July the 1st. "You will not find me alive tomorrow." These words, delivered with calm certainty, seem to confirm that Nostradamus knew his end was near. Astrologers often cite the stars' alignments mentioned in the quatrain as further evidence. Nostradamus, a skilled astrologer, could have analyzed celestial patterns and seen an omen signaling his death. For believers, this aligns with his reputation as a man deeply connected to the mysteries of time and the cosmos. However, skeptics offer a different view. They argue that Nostradamus, aware of his declining health, may have anticipated his death based on logical observation rather than supernatural foresight. By 1566, Nostradamus suffered from severe gout and edema, which had significantly worsened in the months leading up to his death. His prediction could have been a reflection of his medical knowledge and self-awareness, rather than a mystical prophecy. Additionally, skeptics question the vagueness of the quatrain itself. Nostradamus often wrote in cryptic and metaphorical language, leaving his predictions open to interpretation. The reference to July and stars' alignment might seem significant only in hindsight, as humans are naturally inclined to find patterns and connections in mysterious events. Despite the skepticism, the prophecy of Nostradamus's death continues to intrigue. It blurs the line between intuition, foresight, and coincidence, leaving us to wonder, was this the work of a true prophet, or a man keenly aware of his own mortality? The answer depends on how you interpret the evidence and the words he left behind. Nostradamus's prophecy about his death is a testament to his enduring legacy. Whether you view it as a mystical vision or a self-fulfilling prediction, it challenges us to reflect on the mysteries of time, intuition, and the human mind. What do you think? Did Nostradamus truly foresee his own death? Or are we giving his words more meaning than they deserve? Whether you believe in Nostradamus's prophetic abilities or not, one thing is certain: his legacy as a historical figure is undeniable. Michel de Nostradamus, better known as Nostradamus, lived over 450 years ago. Yet his name remains synonymous with mystery and prophecy. His writings continue to captivate people across the globe, inspiring countless debates, interpretations, and even modern predictions. But what is it about Nostradamus that has allowed his influence to endure through the centuries? Nostradamus's most famous work, Les Prophéties, is a collection of 940 quatrains, four-line verses written in cryptic, poetic language. Published in 1555, this book became an instant sensation. The vague and symbolic nature of his writings invited readers to interpret them in their own way, ensuring that his words remained relevant across generations and cultures. Supporters of Nostradamus believe his prophecies have predicted events such as the French Revolution, the rise of Napoleon and Hitler, and even modern events like the September 11 attacks. Each quatrain seems to carry a timeless quality, allowing readers to draw connections to their own time, making Nostradamus feel as though he still speaks to us from beyond the grave. Critics, however, argue that this vagueness is precisely what makes Nostradamus's work so enduring. They claim his predictions are like a mirror, reflecting whatever the reader chooses to see. Even so, his writings have captured the imagination of scholars, skeptics, and believers alike, sparking endless debates, and Nostradamus's influence extends far beyond the pages of his book. Today, his name is frequently invoked in times of uncertainty or crisis. His quatrains are often revisited whenever major global events occur, with people searching for clues in his writings to explain the present or predict the future. This fascination with Nostradamus highlights humanity's enduring need to make sense of the unknown. For example, during the COVID-19 pandemic, many claimed that Nostradamus had foreseen the outbreak in his writings, interpreting lines about plagues and suffering as references to modern times. Whether these interpretations hold any weight or not, they demonstrate how Nostradamus's work continues to resonate in times of upheaval. While Nostradamus is most famous for his predictions, his legacy extends beyond prophecy. He was also a scholar, physician, and a man deeply curious about the world. His writings reflect not just a desire to predict the future, but also to understand the human condition and the cycles of history. Nostradamus was a product of his time, yet his work transcends time, continuing to inspire curiosity and wonder in people of all backgrounds, love him or doubt him. Nostradamus remains a figure who has defied the boundaries of time. His name is a symbol of mystery and the search for meaning in a chaotic world. Whether his prophecies are true visions of the future or simply brilliant pieces of literature, his legacy invites us to question, explore, and remain curious about the unknown. What do you think? Was Nostradamus a true prophet or just a master of ambiguity? Let us know your thoughts. The story of Nostradamus and his final prophecy is one that has fascinated people for centuries. How did a man from the 16th century seemingly predict his own death with such accuracy? Was it simply a coincidence, the result of intuition, or a genuine glimpse into the future? These questions remain as compelling today as they were when Nostradamus passed away in 1566. Let's take a closer look at the possibilities surrounding his final prediction and what it tells us about the man himself. One explanation for Nostradamus's prediction is that it was purely coincidental. By 1566, he was in failing health, suffering from severe gout and edema that made it difficult for him to move or even sleep comfortably. It wouldn't have been far-fetched for a man in his condition to recognize that his time was running out. The calm statement he reportedly made to his assistant, "You will not find me alive tomorrow," could have been a reflection of this awareness. Skeptics argue that Nostradamus's quatrains, including the one about his own death, are vague enough to be retroactively applied to a wide range of circumstances. The references to the bed of death and the month of July might seem specific, but they could also align with many deaths over time. In this view, his final prophecy isn't evidence of supernatural foresight, but rather an example of how humans seek meaning in mysterious words after the fact. Another possibility is that Nostradamus's prediction was the result of intuition, a heightened awareness of his own physical and mental state. Nostradamus was not only a prophet but also a trained physician and astrologer. His deep understanding of his body and the cycles of life might have allowed him to sense the end was near. Intuition often operates in ways we can't fully explain. Nostradamus's ability to process subtle cues about his health, combined with his knowledge of astrology, might have helped him determine the timing of his death. While this doesn't point to a supernatural ability, it does highlight his profound self-awareness and his connection to the natural rhythms of life and death. Of course, the most intriguing explanation is that Nostradamus truly foresaw his own death. His ability to write a quatrain that so closely mirrored the actual events of his passing has led many to believe he had a unique gift for prophecy. Supporters argue that his final prediction is further evidence of his connection to the future, a talent that allowed him to see beyond the veil of time. The reference to the stars' alignment adds an astrological dimension to the prophecy, suggesting that Nostradamus saw celestial patterns that signaled his death. For those who believe in his abilities, this is proof that his work was not merely poetic but a genuine expression of his prophetic insights. The final prophecy of Nostradamus leaves us with more questions than answers. Was it coincidence, intuition, or a true vision of the future? Perhaps it was a combination of all three. Nostradamus's life and work straddled the line between science and mysticism, logic and imagination. This delicate balance is what makes his legacy so enduring and his prophecies so compelling. What do you think? Was Nostradamus a visionary, or are we giving his words more meaning than they deserve? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's continue the conversation about one of history's most enigmatic figures.